You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Yep, me likes. Let me set this shit straight. I need to be down here today.
You be in the bottom.
Yeah. I like being in the basement. In the basement, you know, that's where you do all the hood shit at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need to get the forecast beat in our music bed down below, you know, so we can bring it back anytime we want to.
Oh, okay. We
Follow me.
We should. I
I
thought
was
we had
looking.
it.
I'm still used to bringing the beat back.
Yeah, we had to add it down in there. I thought I had it in there. But welcome back to the forecast. It's still not the forecast. It's a 3cast as of right now.
There he
is. There he is.
Here we go.
Let's bring him on. H to the rap in the building.
Let's set
Glad
this shit
to glad to get back in the mix with the four of us, man. It's been a couple weeks, man.
The beard caught me, man. The beard is popping tonight. Got that all glistening on it. Shit, holla at your boy. You know, it just caught me. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Yeah, you know.
Not tonight, Otis. Not tonight.
Oh, what's up, Golden? She said, "Welcome back, Doc." Yeah, Doc's been gone for a little while.
Golden?
Give us an update on your whereabouts and everything.
Who, me?
Yeah,
living life.
You know where I was. You was with me part of the time.
I know that 1 week. Yeah,
and then still, you know, again, for those of you who don't know, in the Dallas, Texas area, we had a storm that. You know, I say a storm, it was really a cold snap, you know, and based on the my day job in the line of business I am in, water damage restoration, own a water damage restoration company. And so whenever we get a cold snap like that, a lot of freeze breaks and pipes and whatnot. So we were just busy, you know, trying to chase that back.
Hey, Golden thought you ran away.
I was in contract negotiations.
Yeah. Very thorough.
We, unlike most shows, we have our contract negotiations once a quarter. You know,
right.
You know, depending on how our bills is and what kind of leases we done re-sign and stuff. You know. I love that trap.
I know, man. That is beautiful right there. Facebook user, what's up? Make sure if you're tuning in on Facebook, go StreamYard.com/Facebook. It gives authorization so we know who you are.
So tell me this, because this is too big of a problem for too long. Where do they go do that at? Do they got to put that in their browser? What do they need to do that at?
So they can either put it in their browser or they click on the link that's in the description of the show. It's just down at the bottom. You gotta
on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Now, that's only if you're in the Facebook group. That's the only time it does that.
Okay.
Yeah. OC, talking with OC. Thank you for tuning in. He said, good evening. He said, y'all did a wonderful job at the Super Bowl. We appreciate you, man. We were
Overton. Hey, we appreciate your work. You know, living single, you know, you were one of the funniest guys on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, he was though. Until he got the weird eyes.
So we appreciate
it. You know, but anyway.
He got one of his eyes put out, man. He lost an eye. He said,
lost an eye.
I didn't know he lost an eye.
Yeah, he was in a car wreck. Real bad car wreck.
I guess you can call a put out eye a weird eye. I mean, I guess it qualifies, you know.
Yeah. Or Sammy eye.
What's good? Comey Media. That's Cole Johnson, Cole Sports, Revelations. Get over divorce. Thank you for tuning in. He said, good to see you. Sorry about your 49ers, Wilkes.
I'm not sorry about it.
Thank you.
I'm not sorry. I mean, hell, I fucks with Wilkes despite his love of the 49ers. Hell, not because of it. Hell. I ain't sorry.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That's what tell you what kind of dude he is, because otherwise that's generally a disqualifier altogether.
An automatic disqualification.
Yeah.
Hey, so tonight we are coming at you with a good one. We had a little promo we put out, so hopefully that encourages you to want to come
Not
on.
a good one, a good one.
So the greatest night in pop is what we'll be reviewing tonight. Is on Netflix. It's an hour and 30 minutes, real quick. But it's one of those behind the scenes documentaries that I think we all enjoy. We all enjoy watching because it gives you the sneak peek of what was going on in the background. And so, Doc, I'm gonna kick it to you. Give us the description.
Yes, sir. So on January night in 1985, music's biggest stars gather to record We Are the World. The team goes behind the scenes of the event to see how all of the artists came together to make history. And what should be known is this was all done in one night after the American Music Awards in 1985. This is when Lionel Richie had a regular face, not the one that you see today.
Oh, yes.
And he was winning all the awards. In fact, this particular year, which I didn't know this all was taking place, not only Alfred still kicking it, you re-signed Alfred over there.
Yeah,
I had
contract deal.
What I did not know is that in addition to, because I didn't remember that, because at the time I'm 14, but I'm glued in on this show. This was in the heyday of award shows, as far as I was concerned. All of them were big, none bigger than the American Music Awards. In fact, I think you could argue that the American Music Awards were bigger than the Grammys back then.
It was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, but it was nothing bigger than the Source Awards, though.
Boxing match.
Hey, boy, that was like an episode of Springer, man.
So,
in there, but anyway.
Yeah, so Lionel Richie hosted this award show. He was also nominated. I think he won like 7 or something like that. Yeah. This is the one of the things that I remember from that is when he came up there and said outrageous, which of course you can't cover the American Music Award from 1985 and not say that. So in between his hosting, in between coming up there for awards, they're going back scenes throughout the course of this thing, behind the scenes, backstage, working out details of what's happening after the show for We Are the World, because they literally got a studio one night to get all these artists together to be able to record that. Because this way you got them logistically already in one place. You don't have to pay expenses to try to get them in one place. So you save the money because this is a charity deal anyway. Right. So that basically sets the scene for We Are the World 1985. How this new mic sound, y'all? This the right here.
Boy, that's sounding crispy right there.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was, hey, we can be Wolfman Jack back in 1979 if you want to be with this.
Not with that voice.
Get that high-end media mic.
Yes, sir.
Man. Chris, man. So this is when Lionel Richie's Jerry curl was wetter than the Pacific Ocean.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah.
It said, I know I got tired of hearing Richie saying outrageous during the award show. Man, I don't know if you said it, but he performed twice. He was up there the whole night. It wasn't like he had a break.
And he had, or I think just in this documentary, they showed him in like 3 or 4 different outfits. And I was thinking, why are they putting footage up there from other night? Then was the same night. So I know he had 4 wardrobe changes.
Yeah. So
he was. I didn't realize Lionel Richie was that hot, but he was hot back then, man.
Oh,
that's not
yeah, he was hot. Yeah. All night long. That was my jam right there.
What's up, King Son? Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate the support. All right, so man, this was the list of artists that were there. Was amazing. I'm gonna give a list and then we'll kind of get into initial thoughts.
Well, we can take a break because it's gonna be about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan, Stevie, Michael McDonald, obviously Michael Jackson, Ray J. I said Ray J. I put that on the face.
Ray J ass would never be invited to no shit.
I didn't see Michael McDonald.
Wasn't that Michael McDonald that was there?
McDonald,
he was the one that had the solo. I thought
You didn't hear that?
I must have fell asleep on that part.
Ray Charles, that's what I meant. Hey, that was
Ray Charles didn't see Michael McDonald either, so y'all together. Hey.
Yeah, I guess so. Cause I didn't see
Lionel Richie, Kenny Rogers was there. Steve Perry, Bruce Springsteen, Kenny Loggins. Hey, Kenny Loggins, that white boy can sing, man. He was getting into his range. Huey Lewis, Smokey, Tina Turner, Cyndi Lauper. If she talked one more time, man, her voice is like scratching a chalkboard.
Whiny, rich 7-year-old white kid is what she said.
I thought she was really doing something on that mic.
Really. Paul Simon, Dione Warwick.
Wow. You don't sit your
Right.
Yo, crack hands.
Sheila E., Diana Ross, Billy Joel, Bette Midler, Hall and Oates, Dan Aykroyd. I don't know why he was there. I didn't understand that. And
Well, they won because of Blues Brothers.
Okay, so that was just more popularity for him to be there.
Yeah.
All right, so initial thoughts, and I'm gonna go to A-Trap first.
My initial thoughts was bittersweet. As I told you last week, I had something to say about my initial thought, and that is, I honestly believe after watching this, I believe this is the day that music died. You know, a lot of people look at it as a glorious situation, but me and Doc have referenced this several times on the program. When we came up, we listened to Tower Power, we listened to Captain and Tennille, we listened to everybody. This was the birth, and Doc remembers this. This was the birth of MTV. This is when they drew the lines. This is when music became black and white. My favorite artists on here were Kenny Loggins, Phil Collins, and Paul Simon. You know what I mean? And I stopped listening to them after this night. You know, this was a glorious night. This is one of the greatest. This might be the greatest night in history of music. But this is also the day that they said black people get over there, white people get over there. It became white music and black music. So whereas I celebrated the event, it made me realize my favorites. When I heard Huey Lewis, the first thing I heard was in my mind was "It's the Power of Love."
And I heard I want a new drug.
Right.
It was all him. He was popping back then.
They drew a line.
You're right, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
They destroyed music this night. The greatest night in the history of music simultaneously destroyed music forevermore.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? He's 100% right. And this next statement that I'm gonna make that I wrote down is not to refute that, because he's right. Okay. However, there was a seed planted that allowed music to resurrect, and I can't even say that it's been resurrected fully. You follow what I'm saying? But to give it a shot later on through collabs, because I think people who saw that recognize the power of collabs by putting two different artists, two different genres, two different sides together. But A-Trap is 100% right. Probably for the next 20 years. That's why think about the first collabs we were getting with Santana and some other people, right? I think maybe it may not be Nickelback, it's somebody else. Maybe it's Nickelback, but with a couple of, when black artists and white artists started collabing, think of how big and that was such a big deal. And it's because it had been 20 years since the line had been drawn in the sand. You follow what I'm saying? So to speak. You know, so yeah, he's 100% right.
And to piggyback on that, just think about it. Like before this song came out, Philip Bailey and Phil Collins did a song, "Easy Love."
Right. Easy Love, one of my favorites, man.
Michael Jackson and one of the biggest, Say. Yeah. You had Michael McDonald and Patti LaBelle doing songs.
Yeah, that's right.
The biggest songs of the day.
Yeah.
And after this came out,
you're right.
Black people over here on BET White people up here at MTV, and MTV for a couple of years would not even play black music.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I know
this was a great and a horrible night simultaneously.
Yeah, you're right, and I know we got to get to Ben and Wilkes' initial thoughts, but it's just too meaty. His thoughts are too meaty not to cover these particular areas, right? So he was, he brought up the MTV angle, he brought up the a separate angle or whatnot, but even they weren't initially when We Are the World first started as USA for Africa. They weren't even going to bring no white artists in.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a black. Yeah,
it was supposed to be black only. And somebody said, let's get white artists in as well. I can't remember exactly what they said. If they said something to the effect that it would be more powerful, in other words, from a money making standpoint, they're like, and at the end of the day, that's what the goal is. So if we get white artists in on it, we're more likely to accomplish our goal, So
and I'll say my initial thoughts. I remember the song. I don't remember a lot about who was doing it. I just remember Michael Jackson was obviously involved in Quincy Jones. I don't really remember a lot. I was 3 or 2 at that point. So for me, it wasn't a lot of knowing a lot of the people that were there. I just kind of have images in my head of and the voices, that were on it. Obviously, Stevie would be another one. But I was excited about it though. This is right up my alley, the behind the scenes of how things are created. And if Quincy Jones is involved, it's going to be, to a level of perfection, just in the way he does everything. So, yeah. All right, Wilkes.
For me, definitely a big song. But I mean, when I was growing up, this was like you said, to have all these artists together, it was a big deal. Now, as far as what it did going forward, I was too young to even really know what that was. So to me, it was just like, oh, you got all these great people together, and that was really about it.
Yeah. Let's get to some comments here.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Cole says, to put it in context, All Night Long was the official song of the Olympics that took place in LA 6 months prior.
That's a hellified context, right?
That says a lot right there.
Doesn't get any bigger than that.
He was in the building prior to the gathering. He's saying Dan Aykroyd, but they brought his name up like they
were thinking about bringing him in as one of the artists, though. Like,
they did.
Was this when the Blues Brothers was out and he was part of that? Okay, well, he must have been. Dan Aykroyd has a band. I don't know that he has one now, but he had a band for quite a while. So the Blues Brothers wasn't all acting, if that makes any sense. He really did have a band. So I don't know if back then though, but it made me made me think that they seen him as a singer, that they saw him as a singer or something.
Plus, he was on SNL, right? On SNL, you do some of everything. You do sing, you dance, you do. Yeah. What were you saying, Asher?
70s. He was on
in the 70s. He was on SNL.
Oh, okay.
He predates Eddie Murphy. That's Garrett Morris, Gilda Radner, Chevy Chase. That was that crew.
Yeah, I like Dan Aykroyd back in the day.
What's up, Big Mo? Appreciate you for tuning in. This is true because who knew that Bobby Caldwell was black? Hey, I didn't know that up until a couple years ago.
Yeah, saw that cover because he sang,
Yeah, what you won't do.
And the fast forward toward the end of the taping when the night was over and they were giving Quincy Carter. Wow.
not that one.
They were giving Quincy Jones a ride home because he didn't drive.
Yeah.
He said, them white boys brought it tonight. Which they did. But it's some bad white boys out there. Hall and Oates, Bobby Caldwell,
Stephen Perry.
Yeah, Stevie Perry was a bad white boy, but this, like even Kenny Loggins, they had some soulful sounds when they wanted to be,
Oh yeah.
And I tell people all the time, and this just reminded me, my classic rock playlist is the biggest playlist I have. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
It's good stuff there, man. It's good meat.
Period.
Yeah.
And hey, what was funny, me and Ben noticed on Radio Row, right? Remember Tech Nine started dropping Rock 9.
Oh, yeah. He was talking about his list of Yeah.
And he said that was where he got his inspiration. Remember, it was the Doors, Jimmy Morrison and the Doors, which
right.
Yeah.
he got his inspiration from. He goes, this may sound weird. He goes, but I went to Jimmy Morrison grave site and said, thank you for the inspiration. Put some flowers on his grave. You know, because that's where I got my musical inspiration from. So you get that in a lot of artists, man, where they'll say something. You get a lot of white artists saying that their inspiration was a black guy, right? Rock and roll in general has to say that. There's nobody who's a true rock and roll artist, the purest rock and roll artist. They can't not say that a black artist was their inspiration, you know. Right. So yeah, music lovers love music, period. You know, and musicians and people who sing and some of the greatest artists of the day, they are music lovers. I often refer to Babyface. Go to Babyface playlist album CD. You know, he has a CD called Playlist, and basically he's re-recorded a lot of his favorite songs. I want to say 8 out of 12 of them, 9 out of 12 of them, 12 out of 15 of them are classic rock. James Taylor, he's a lot in there, you know, so he's a classic rock fan as well.
Yeah, yeah. And that just tells you the mixture when it comes to music, you know, to A-Trap and to Doc, your point is that music wasn't lines, and that just goes to tell you that. Raider Kev says, I have to watch the documentary and see if I get that feeling. But at the time, it actually did the opposite. I personally started listening to other people's music at that time. I only listened to soul. Okay, so it was the opposite.
He gotta clean that up for me, because he goes, at the time it actually did the opposite. I personally started listening to other people's music. What does he mean by that?
He's saying it wasn't separating. It
wasn't separate. It was embodied.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think the documentary doesn't give you that feeling. You know, I don't think I got the feeling in the documentary. It's just what happened. You know, I don't know
the outcome of
I don't know if it was because, you know, the world got to see all those artists in the room at the same time, and I don't know what it was. You know, hey, and I got news for you. As far as I was concerned, some of the cracks was starting to happen in the documentary when Waylon Jennings' ass says, I don't know what no damn Swahili is. I ain't never sung. No good old boy ain't never sung no Swahili. I'm out of here. Shit. And he left.
Yeah.
So, you know, so hey, you know, hey, that's where Anna, what they call it, QAnon. That's where QAnon started at, eh?
On that night when he walked out the door,
the birth of QAnon.
I like Waylon Jennings. Ain't that the cat that's sing I Got Friends in Low Places with them other boys, you know, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and one other guy got a song. Baby, you know, that you sing in the that you said. I done sung along in the band with plenty of white folks with this Waylon Jennings songs, you know.
That was so weird. Yeah, like he just not. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like he ain't touching it.
Yeah. So I know good old boy ain't never sung no Swahili. Now Stevie ass was tripping on that Swahili shit.
Come on, man. And Stevie, man. When they got towards the end and he kept joking around, was that Kenny Rogers or was that Michael McDonald? With the one that looked at him sideways like, if you don't shut up, shut up, man. We all trying to go home. And that's how he is in real life. You know, we met him one time and he was just joking. He was like, I don't care where I am. I'm a joke. And we was at church. So Cole says makes sense. Babyface's most comfortable instrument is the guitar.
Yeah, his acoustic sets are bonkers. And I'm gonna tell you somebody else who on you know, acoustics, pianos, everything. Brian McKnight is a stupid musician, man. Oh, when I saw a concert of his, this cat at one point sent his band away. Like, y'all go take a break. It's just him and the keyboard and some of the most beautiful music you'll ever hear. And then he do an acoustic set. Man, Brian McKnight on the musician is that boy.
No,
thank you for tuning in. And so let's kind of let's start to give a little backstory, and then we'll get to some other comments here. So Harry Belafonte wanted to.
Damn. Hey, look here. You can't do that in a room full of black folks, and we not.
Yeah.
We
Right, and that totally derailed everything when they did that too.
Al
Oh,
Jarreau
no,
ass. Al Jarreau is right there saying,
Al
damn.
Jarreau a little suspect
Hey,
though.
Al Jarreau was a little sauced, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Al Jarreau, they said he had a lot to drink.
It was like, hey man, y'all too serious, man. Hey, what a
Yeah, Al Jarreau said, man, I
what
gotta
a
get
drinks and
wasted.
shit.
I'm gonna get turned.
Yeah.
Al Jarreau said, I need to get
But,
turned.
so Harry Belafonte wanted to do this, wanted to do something to help hunger in Africa. At this point, I don't think there was anything. There was one done for like AIDS relief, and there was one done for other things, but there wasn't anything done for this. So he came to Ken Cragen, who was a TV producer, had a lot of connections, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling. And initially they thought the two names that came up was Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson, and they were the ones that started working. And actually, Stevie was the third one. But it was like when you call Stevie, you just don't know when he gonna call back.
And it was no different this time. His ass wasn't calling Lionel Richie back. But in true black fashion, that's why Stevie will never be one of them. He will always be one of us. He will be black and always is black because he do black shit. And he didn't call back. But when his ass show up to the party, he trying to run it.
He's trying to run it, yeah.
You tell me, A-Trap, if you don't got somebody in your family or friend circle, that's that same way. You ain't got nothing to do when we leading up.
That's
Right.
you
Trying to run shit.
and yeah, that's why. And Stevie was trying to influence the proceedings a little too much because he wasn't involved in the beginning. I think he was like, "Look, I'm gonna add my 2 cents in here. I don't care."
Hey, if you'd have called back, you'd have been involved.
Right.
Exactly.
So I mean, there was quite a few funny moments, but they sit down and they're interviewing Lionel Richie, and he's talking in his Michael Jackson voice, which was hilarious. He's talking about the animals that were there. He's talking about there was a snake behind him, and you know they didn't really take it seriously initially, which I felt was an interesting backstory because they had their own projects going on. He's about to host the award show. Obviously, Michael Jackson is working on his album and projects and all of that. So, Wilkes, you kind of see that moment of them, and also they were close friends, which I didn't know that. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I know he had mentioned they had went on tour, I think in 1971 with the Commodores. I think, or they had
That's right.
something like that.
That's
but
right.
It didn't dawn on me.
So they were both basically young lead black singers, you know,
on Motown.
Commodores and Jackson.
And they said they had a friendship like up until the end. Like he talked to him pretty much daily. I didn't realize until, you know, sometimes, you know, YouTube keeps putting these recommendations when you click on YouTube, and they kept putting Lionel Richie running into the night or running with the night or something.
Running with the night, yeah.
Running with the night. And I was like, okay, I didn't click it because I was just like, okay, I just watched Netflix and it probably heard me talking about Lionel Richie. So I finally played it tonight and I clicked it. I'm like, man, I saw somebody in there that was in the Michael Jackson Thriller video. It was Michael De Lorenzo from New York Undercover.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started tying things together. I'm like, okay, why is that Michael Jackson in Thriller or Beat It? I'm sorry, he was in Beat It. And then he's in this Lionel Richie video. Well, come to find out, that Thriller album and then that Lionel Richie song came out in 1983. So they both came out at the same time, but they were using the same dancers. So I thought that was pretty crazy how maybe they were kind of like, hey, I got this guy that, you know, he wants to probably be in your next video kind of thing. I didn't realize their friendship was really that close like that. And
I'll give you some on that Running with the Night song. I'm glad you brought that up because back in, it was 89, 88, you know, whenever I used to run around the track with this guy, his name was Alonzo and he was real black. And anytime we ran around the track, I said, I feel like I'm running with the night.
Running with the shadows.
Darkness, everybody.
Dog. Come here, darkness.
Simmer down, crap. You can tell, hey, you can tell we got some white folks in that crowd too. You can hear that one lady.
Right.
Oh, she white, but she get black jokes quick.
She catch on fast.
She gets on real fast.
And Cole says, right, Wilkes, the Commodores toured with the Jackson 5 for 3 years. Wow. Imagine the Commodores opening for them. Yeah, that's wow. Right
Hey,
there.
the
Right.
Commodores.
I mean,
Woo,
what?
Man,
them
man.
boys, bro.
Crazy.
I used to, hey, look here. There was a time in my life where I didn't play nothing but the Commodores, man. Them some
Bro,
bad boys.
I still play Zoom when I'm
Yeah, oh,
driving.
with the album.
Yeah. That's a classic. Yeah. Let's see a couple other comments. Brian McKnight is a sick pianist and songwriter.
Yeah, we
didn't
pronounce
know he was that bad.
We pronounce it pianist, but okay, go ahead.
Okay, we'll roll with it. Harry Belafonte made a strong plea to Lionel Richie.
It's right laughing at you, by the way.
White people are saving black people. When are black people gonna save black people? Yeah, he did. Yeah, and they still use white people, but
and I didn't know. So this is at least the second documentary Harry Belafonte has come up on the Forecast reviews, right? And I say this every time. I did not know Harry Belafonte was as involved socially as he was, and he was much bigger and much more respected than I knew.
Yeah,
I had no idea. They were giving Harry Belafonte more love in that place than Michael Jackson at the time.
Yeah.
Follow me?
Well, Michael was he wasn't really the main focus of this at all. I mean, he did the singing parts, which we'll get to that in a minute.
He should,
but yeah, he was more like the background.
I think to Doc's point, I mean, I have to honestly say, when I watched that music video for the first time, like when it aired, my eyes, it was Harry Belafonte. It was like, man, wow, because my mom watched the movies and had, he had songs and did. And I'm just like, wow, this is big. It's like Harry Belafonte did. But yeah, of course, they always made it seem like, damn, Michael put this together. It always made you also think that Michael threw this together, but
right.
Michael wasn't the driving force behind this.
Yeah, he was a big part of it. Him, Lionel, Quincy Jones, and Harry Belafonte. And then that white guy, I can't remember his name, Krager or something like that.
Producer or something like that.
He was big.
He was a TV guy.
But the thing is about Harry Belafonte, he's one of the it's a good thing we're doing this in Black History Month, because he's one of the unsung heroes in Black history. He pretty much bankrolled the civil rights movement. Harry Belafonte, when Dr. King would go to jail, he would be the dude to bail him out. He is paramount in Black history, whether you talk about civil rights movement, when you talk about acting, when you talk about he's one of the first people to go platinum. Harry Belafonte, even with We Are the World, the year before this song came out, Harry Belafonte introduced hip hop to the world. Harry Belafonte produced the movie B Street. So when you talk about hip hop, when you talk about civil rights, when you talk about music in general, acting in general, this dude is one of the unsung heroes. He's one of the forgotten heroes. And we start giving him his flowers late in his life.
Right.
Throughout his entire life, Harry Belafonte has been looking every Black history person in my lifetime and my parents' lifetime right in the face. And he's been a beacon of light in regards to who he is. And then let's not forget, Harry Belafonte is a bohemian. He's not even a Black American.
That's right. That's right.
Black American. And it also gives you this piece of insight. The only difference in a Bohemian Black, a Jamaican Black, a Haitian Black, and a Black from the United States of America is literally this. And that's the only difference in them and us, because when they was putting those people off those boats, send them over there. Send him over there. That's the only difference. And people continue to separate us. But Harry Belafonte is the poster child for we are the same. As to quote, quote Sister Sledge, we are family.
Right on. And just to piggyback on that Bohemian piece, the rock group Queen, they wrote a song about Harry Belafonte called Bohemian Rhapsody.
Boo this man. Get this man out of here.
Hey, I'm here for Will. So that's it. I'm telling you. I do the show for him.
You better shut your white mouth.
Wow.
Hey, Trev, I told my daughter that today. I was like, you better shut your white mouth. And she was like, I'm not white.
Your white mouth.
See, we're talking about confusing somebody. I bet Ari is so sharp. I bet she's thinking about that right now, trying to figure that out.
Hey, she was just ready to write me a note, right? What was that about? We can talk about that tomorrow on the way to school. I know we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, they I'm sure they had a whole file on Harry Belafonte because he also he didn't care either.
I mean,
he was very vocal about how he felt.
I mean, he was very, especially in the 80s. I felt like when I was growing up, like, I mean, he was from Sesame Street to Music Awards to the Tony Awards. I mean, Harry Belafonte was plastered everywhere. I mean, it was just, that's why I said when I first saw that video for the first time that they had aired that, I mean, immediately I was like, man, wow, Harry Belafonte is in there? Like, you know, it's just like kind of like one of those things. Because like I said, my mom, my grandparents watched his movies. They talked about him being an activist. Like I always talk about this book downstairs, that Ebony book, the Black History of Black America. But he's
the Black Annual book. It was an annual book. Will.
Annual book. He's in the book, so it's just like
every year.
Every year, yes. And so they made sure that he was already somebody that I was very well vested with or known. So it was just like when I saw him in the crowd, I mean, yeah, I see Michael, yeah, I see Tina, I see Cyndi Lauper, I see Kim Kearns, whatever her name is. I'm just like, damn, this is, you know, it's a big deal. It's serious shit.
And they stopped. They stopped it at one point and said, let's give it up for Harry Belafonte. Because for him, you know, this whole thing wouldn't have started. And at this point, they were saying he was more of an activist than he was an artist or an actor at this point. So,
and real quick on Sesame Street, we need to do a documentary on Sesame Street.
Yeah,
I mean, we need to.
We heavy in there.
That's right.
Is there not a Motown?
How it all started was about black kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say we need to do. We need to find a good Sesame Street documentary and review it.
Yeah.
So put that on, Benjamin.
Benjamin, is there not a Motown documentary? I mean, but you have to do that in
sure
parts.
There is, but
there's tons of Motown documentaries out there.
Yeah, especially just Barry Gordy. Like he's on Barry Gordy.
Yeah. Get the I don't know what that. Get the Bahoo for
the fool for Ivan or something like that. Fool is what I think.
Freddie Mercury was thinking about a Caribbean island singing Bohemian Rhapsody. Good evening. What's up? What's up, Keisha? Swallowed. Hey man, he said that way too well, man.
I don't understand what that means.
Have you ever been swallowed?
You don't know what that means for you joking?
Who said that? No, I mean
you joking.
It's TD Jakes. He was preaching, but because of the P Diddy situation that came up, they're trying to link him and P Diddy together. So he's just walking around the stage talking about, have you ever been swallowed? Been swallowed? Has you ever been swallowed?
This is a real clip. This you haven't. Okay, hold on. Oh, stop the press.
Don't please.
You have not seen or heard this for real?
Please.
No.
Please don't.
Oh my God.
I mean, vaguely.
I'm gonna have to find this.
I'm you know, I live a good, clean life. I don't know if you can tell by my broadcasting, but I don't really do a whole bunch of cussing and funny acting stuff. Yeah, I don't give my life to
Oh, well,
it's too close of Sunday for those type of prevarications.
Big word. You know, you're confused being he didn't go to the right HBCU school, so he can't dissect all these words.
Hey, I can look it up later. No worries.
Yeah.
Keisha said she could send it to you.
All right.
That video is definitely still out there. One of the premium channels, either HBO, Showtime, or Stars, has a great documentary about Sesame Street. Okay,
we'll try to find
Appreciate that, Shaka. All right, so
Shaka strong.
Now, a side note was
dog in the frame. Can anybody see that one ear right there?
Yes, I do.
Yes, it's that. We good with dogs, you know, dogs, kids.
We're dog
Yeah.
You don't want Peter, the SPCA, nobody out there. So
right. It's like Peter, Peter, we
get
don't
that
need
little
you.
motherfucker treat or something over there. Let's see, we good.
He's something else, man. I don't know.
Well,
He's something else.
Hey, Trap. While I'm trying to show him we friendly to him, but we call him that.
Yeah.
Low MF.
And I'm like, hey, in our community, that's a term of endearment. Hey, we got it.
Hey, well, like Bernie Mac said, you can use it 10 different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
That was one of his best sets.
Man. All right, so December 1984 is kind of when the ball started rolling. And then the recording was on January 28th, 1985. So they got into the process. They started to record the demo, and basically Michael kind of hummed all of it. And then he was seeing all of the tapes and stuff that he had of basically him humming a lot of the songs. And I felt like that was a good, shout out to Michael, because you kind of didn't know. Obviously, you thought Quincy was probably the biggest, maybe the bigger, but it was almost like an equal. I didn't know that part, but it was the amazing part of Michael Jackson and how he just had that gift, to create.
Yeah, if you've never heard of Michael Jackson demo, like Off the Wall, to me, remember, I think a few weeks ago on the show, I said I thought Off the Wall was a better album than Thriller. If you check the making of Off the Wall and some of the demos, man, that boy, if you see some of the raw of Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and working day and night and stuff like that, and how he came with that. He he man, that dude is touched, divinely touched the music, man. Not touched in that way, man. God,
you had to use that word, man.
Divinely touched, man. I said divinely.
Oh man.
He may have been doing the touching.
But
God rest his soul. Let me clean this shit up.
No.
God rest his soul.
There's nothing better with knocking on the doors of hell with a clear conscience.
And Cole says Michael Jackson wrote songs by humming every single part of the song. He would sing violin and guitar parts.
Yeah, because they're in that. There was
pause.
There was something, I don't know. It was It was that very last tour that he was supposed to go on, and they had made a documentary out of that real quickly. But they were saying something like how Michael would say, like, you need to see the beat. So I guess I can understand why he would, hum that, because I guess in his mind it's like, I can see where the guitar rhythm would be, or where the drum rhythm would be.
Because he didn't play an instrument.
Yeah, he didn't play an instrument.
Remember, at the front of this documentary, Lionel said, I didn't realize he didn't play. So they had to figure out how to work together. They knew each other, they was friends, but they had never worked together on a piece of music, Right. So that was a change for him, and like Ben alluded to earlier, that they were kind of messing around. They weren't in a hurry to get to it. And it was Quincy Jones called them about 10 days out and said, hey, everybody's waiting on this song. And that's when they got serious and started putting it together.
So what did Michael call, what he called him, Lonnie or Lionel? I think is what
he pronounced it like somebody on the Jeffersons pronounced they Lionel. Lionel. That's what he did.
Lionel. And the way he did it with the voice, I mean, you got to watch it just for that part. All right, so everything's approaching the day of, and the city is buzzing now. At this point, obviously, no cell phones, no email, no text, no none of that. So they are literally calling people. They sending the demo tapes by mail to the artist or the manager. And then one of the artists, I think it was Kenny Loggins, he was like, we wasn't going to remember this anyway. I mean, as artists, we don't remember anything.
Right.
So, I mean, like, you have all these people coming in, they trying to keep it secret. They're being asked before and after the American Music Awards. So there's already a lot that, people know there's something going on, but they don't know what. And so that's kind of the beginning of the part, people pulling up in the cars. they had a list of kind of who they wanted, but obviously there were certain people that either wasn't in town or they couldn't get or whoever. And Prince was one of the top people on the list. But
and before we get to that, it's an important piece of this to say that they were acutely aware of trying to keep this on the down low, secret, hush hush, because they like, if the media gets wind of this and they show up after the American Music Awards to this studio and it's a bunch of media, a lot of them ain't even getting out the vehicle.
Right.
Because what's surprising or maybe surprising to the general public is that a lot of artists like that, they were not comfortable in crowds, Prince being one of them, right? Which is one of the reasons at the end of the day, Sheila, like, I knew he wasn't coming because he don't like crowds. Bob Dylan, y'all see how uncomfortable that was?
Oh, man.
His voice?
Hey, like Mike Tyson in a spelling bee uncomfortable. He was uncomfortable.
Hey, y'all gonna have to encourage
he
me.
Was like a prostitute on Sunday morning in church. Yeah, he was really nervous.
Hey, y'all got to tell me which Bob Dylan song to listen to, because I could not stand his voice.
Oh, white lady like that too, Vince.
The one that's at the end of Purple Rain.
Oh God, no.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, but Huey Lewis now, a lot of the white cats, they was nervous about singing in front of, they like, damn. Huey Lewis, when they were saying he had to write this harmony, and he was like, they used to working behind the scenes and giving a finished product. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't used to having to do this right in front of folks, and stuff, because of how they got from point A to point B. Whereas there were some insecurities in what they did,
it made it more nervous because they said they were looking at other artists bigger than them. They were like,
they
were
walking in nervous, that like a kid, like the first day of school. Lionel Richie, I think Lionel Richie said that.
And if y'all remember Bob Dylan is one of the deepest songwriters that done ever been. Okay, and y'all remember he's the one who Ali used when talking to what's his name? Remember the One Night in Miami? The singer in there. Sam Cooke. He's the one that Ali used about Sam Cooke's lyrics and said, why is a white dude using this? And I say Ali did it. It may have been, somebody else who used that. But Malcolm, it might have been Malcolm that used it, that said, why is a white dude singing these lyrics and a brother ain't? Because one of his songs was real, kind of activist like, where he's saying a man can be a man. It's some one of those lyrics or whatever. But Dylan, Dylan Cole, he was one of the biggest ones in that room.
Now, I'm gonna listen to this song.
Nervous. He was nervous. So basically, what I'm telling y'all is, from a personal standpoint, we all from time to time get a little doubtful or insecure about who we are, or our talents, or our power, or the dominion we have. And I'm telling you, the greatest of all time have. So there's no reason for you not to be able to shake it off, because they had to shake it off.
I can't think of the song right now, but H-Rap Mike can help me in Dog. But Dylan has a song about a murder that happened to a black man.
Rupert Hurricane Carter.
Yeah, it was one of those things where he was writing about how, didn't they get off for that murder? They didn't get evicted. They didn't get convicted for that murder.
Rupert Hurricane Carter. This is the story of a hurricane.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. It is Hurricane Carter. They did a movie about that too. Didn't Denzel Washington do a movie about Hurricane Carter?
Yeah.
Put the previous Cole's previous comment up.
Yes.
Hey, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that song right there is big.
Yeah, because if it's New Orleans second line style, I need to
should be good there.
And then because there's a line in there that says, I think it's like, they'll stone you from the left and they'll stone you from the right. He just keeps linking those. I mean, he's very aware. I mean, Dylan has some music. He's the kind of person where you just have to be in the mood for Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean,
in other words, smoke you one. Go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. Dylan is, I have to say, here's the funny thing about Bob Dylan. And my wife did not like Bob Dylan. She cannot stand Bob Dylan. But I told her, I was like, it was funny because every movie that we would watch randomly, there was a Bob Dylan song in that movie.
Mm.
She started piecing and sewing it together. I was like, did you hear that in the background? So she's like, I was like, who's that? She's like, that sounds like Bob. I was like, we watched at least 10 movies over the course of whatever.
Hmm.
and there's been a Bob Dylan song in there. One of her favorite movies had a Bob Dylan song, and she didn't even know it was Bob Dylan. But I told her, I was like, Bob Dylan, in a way, in a sense, he's the cornerstone of setting moods and being aware. That's why I said this word woke. Stop.
Yeah.
I was like, stop. I was like, music, poetry, authors, it's always been woke.
Right on, right on, man.
I was like, if I look at your playlist, if you listen to reggae, don't talk to me about you don't like being woke, because reggae is one of the biggest woke cultures there is.
Yeah.
They're always talking about getting away from the man or putting down the war or social and coming together. It makes stop, man.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where people kill me with that word, and it's just like the world, this whole life's been woke. It's been woke. So Bob Dylan is one of those artists where it's just like you just have to, if you can get past his voice. I think it was his voice for my wife. It was
that's exactly where I was gonna go. You're not gonna like him for his voice, because his voice was like a man and a man, and I wanna. That's how his voice is. It ain't gonna be no more than that.
And that's why they said. And that's why it was funny, because it was just like you have to put those lyrics where Bob Dylan can get it.
Right.
Bob Dylan can't get lyrics where Buddy Holly is saying lyrics.
And that's another thing where you go with Quincy Jones' greatness. And they pointed it out in the documentary. They said that's one of the things that make Quincy great. They look at him as this great engineer and this great producer, and he goes, but in order to be those things, you got to know how to manage people and stars and whatnot. And you got
to be a head coach.
And he was able to peep out, this dude is uncomfortable. And you hear him say, "Oh, that's great," before it was great.
Yeah.
To give him confidence. He said, "Oh, that's it, baby." Like, come on, baby. And I like the way Quincy was old, where he said, "Baby, a lot." Oh, baby, So he was like, "Oh, that's great, baby." So he knew. So you could see a little smile come on Bob Dylan's face when he said it. And I'm like, this dude is coaching.
Yeah, because Bob Dylan was about to doubt it. We're talking about Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah. He was already in the middle of doubt there. He was on doubt street there.
He was like, no, he said, no, y'all kid, that was terrible.
He was finna follow Waylon Jennings. He was finna follow Waylon Jennings' ass out of there.
And he even said, I think he said something like, "I'm dreaming," or, "This isn't real." And Stevie helped him, right? Didn't Stevie sing his part?
That's right. And he was able to mimic. They said Stevie wanted to mimic it in Dylan's voice.
Yeah.
That's why I said, and that reminded me of kind of like what the Black Eagle always says, but it was before the Black Eagle too. You got to put it where the goats can get it. You got to put it where Dylan can go get those lyrics and make them his own. You can't put it. You can't put Bob Dylan in Tina Turner realm and think he's gonna sing.
Nah,
it's not gonna work like that.
Right.
Every artist in there has their own unique range, and you have to put it where they feel comfortable. Like Bruce Springsteen will tell you, his voice is terrible, but it works.
That's right.
Hey, the way they flipped it on the recording,
they even described it like it sounds like broken glass.
And
it
but
works.
That's the boss. Springsteen, that's the boss.
Springsteen showing up in a GTO across the street smoking.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, man. The 74, I think they said 74.
Yeah, 74 GTO, man. It's like, well, come on, Mr. Boss, man.
Go ahead, A-Trap. You
I was gonna say something, and I meant it tongue in cheek, but I'm serious. Bob Dylan, at the end of the day, is the first white rapper, because he doesn't sing. He just speaks to issues. His lyrics carry everything, and that is the essence of hip hop.
Yeah. And you notice a lot of pothead type, hippie type white dudes was his first fans, his first biggest following. Because that's why I said smoking one, and Dylan will change your life. Hey, if you're a pastor out there, I'm gonna tell you right now, smoke you one Friday night and listen to Dylan, and you'll get your sermon for Sunday.
Oh man, come on, man, you'll lead the people. Come on, man.
What's up, Jungle? Appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, we call that Dylan weed.
Yeah, what's up? All right, so they wanted Prince, and there was a beef between Prince and Michael Jackson, but also he was nervous. But I think he wanted to record in a separate room
Yeah.
And Lionel Richie's like,
With
nah,
guitar
man,
solo.
you got to come in the room with everybody. We doing it with everybody.
That's
And
Prince,
you could
man.
imagine the phone calls when they had to actually go to a phone, which was probably in the studio, and they calling people, or somebody's calling for them, and they got to call the studio and hand the phone to whoever. But I wanted to talk about this. Sheila E. at some point said, "I felt like they was using me for Prince."
And they were.
And me and Wilkes was like, "Duh." Like you honestly thought you was gonna get a solo spot with these people? Ray Charles didn't even get a solo. So I think in her mind, I think she had a great night, obviously at the award show.
But she was butthurt.
Yeah, but she was her
butthurt.
ego was bruised when they
She was
told
butthurt.
her.
I just said that.
Literally.
Don't try to clean it up. Yeah, she was butthurt.
But you know what's interesting about that segment that you're speaking about, Ben?
Yeah.
It shows the class of Lionel Richie, because she was allowed to trash Lionel Richie in Lionel Richie's documentary.
Wow.
They were probably in the same room.
Wow. Yeah.
He took it on the chin. He knew what he did. He knew how he probably apologized. I'm assuming because he seems like a class individual.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he apologized at this point, and he allowed her to speak her piece in front of the entire world. We don't know how many people gonna watch this, but Lionel Richie is a class dude simply because this person was bruised. He used this person. He disregarded her feelings, and he allowed her to speak her piece in front of the world. 40 years later, but it still was done.
Yeah,
So
that's a good catch.
Richie.
That's a good catch, man. I'm with you.
And Cole said Prince wasn't going to go there. He wanted to do a solo with a guitar. Yeah, he wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to do Rock and Roll Hall of Fame solo that night.
And the rock and roll solo, when my guitar gently weeps, if that's the one he talking about, may have been the greatest guitar solo in the history of music, man. When Prince
he's
said,
on stage,
my guitar gently weeps. Oh my God.
Yeah, and they have him on stage playing that live with I feel like
them white cats.
Tom Petty's on the stage.
And they're looking at him like, this dude is nuts. They're going crazy. Yeah, they interviewed him. They're sitting there like just looking at each other like, dude, you know, like taking some stuff that was ours, and like, because that was an old Beatles thing.
Exactly.
George gently weeps. That's right. Yeah. And Prince took it, and
oh man, you got to find it on YouTube.
He took it to church. He just put it like that.
Yeah,
because he had Joe Walsh up there. You had Tom Petty up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't think of the other guy who may have been there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, he killed that one. Oh my gosh.
And so then they were showing, the award show. They showed Prince won, and Prince was winning, and he was in the category with Michael. But Michael was at the studio.
He kept beating him. And kept beating him.
Well, all of this was going on. Yeah. And then his big white bodyguard. I feel like that was hilarious.
Right. That was funny.
I feel like you're gonna pick him up.
So they called it
that's what I thought he was gonna pick him up too.
So they called it a rivalry. Let me ask y'all this. And A-Trap, I want to hear from you first on it. Would you consider the quote unquote Prince Michael Jackson rivalry? Was it a rivalry between them, or was it one between the fans?
Both.
I don't remember ever hearing them back and forth, if that makes sense.
Most definitely. It was definitely a rivalry between them, simply because you got two dudes from the Midwest vying for the hottest artist in the world title, first and foremost. Later, maybe 10 years after this event, Chris Rock interviewed Prince on MTV, and Prince said it definitely was a rivalry. There was a bunch of sublims all the way thrown back and forth, and Prince was offered to be in the Bad video,
and he wouldn't do it.
The role that Wesley Snipes eventually played, and he refused.
Because they said your butt is mine, and he like, I'm not. My butt is yours.
Tell Prince your butt is mine. So you got two of the biggest artists in the world, and I would say that simply because it was a fan thing, but I could see where Prince will be. Look, Prince and Michael Jackson are both insanely talented. These are two of the most talented human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. But on a macro level, like micro, who sold the most records? Mike. That's easy. But on a macro level, when you're looking at the biggest thing, I can write letter for letter with you. I can perform step for step with you. But you can't play the piano. You can't play the horns. You can't play the drums. You can't play this guitar. So why are people even comparing you to me? So I would assume that that's where Prince will go. Dude, you can't keep up with me. But this is a guy also that the whole world was holding up higher than I was. So that's why Prince would probably see it as a rivalry.
I got news for you. I was Michael Jackson up until 2020, whatever 2021, whatever year the Cowboys played the Vikings in Minnesota, maybe 22. And I visited Paisley Park. Yeah. And when I visited Paisley Park, I think I switched sides, man.
Well, you got a room dedicated to it.
Huh?
You got a room dedicated to it.
I do. I may be Prince, man. And if I had to, start playing songs to make my case, I'm gonna start with Nothing Compares to You, and then I'm gonna follow that up with Adore, and I'm gonna sit back and wait because them two hitting so heavy, and then if I gotta come back, look at it, and the depth of his songs, right? Michael's songs, they were not deep, you can find one, like one of my favorite of all times is I don't know if it is You'll Always Be My Lady, or I can't remember the exact name. The woman in my life. One of my favorites. That's on my Getting Busy playlist. Okay. But so I ain't shitting on Mike. Don't get me wrong. The depth of Prince's songs. Prince is more Dylan. Okay, and Mike is less. Go ahead, AJ.
See, the thing is, I think they were equally deep when needed. I was watching this documentary maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and they talked about Michael Jackson, and they talked about how Michael made the decision after doing Off the Wall that he wanted to be the biggest pop star in the world. He was already the biggest R&B star in the world because he came from the Jackson, he came from the Five, and it was the Jackson, and then it was Mike.
Right.
He said he didn't want to just pigeonhole himself in R&B. He wanted to go pop. You can't really get in depth mentally and spiritually and socially with pop because pop is about feeling good. So Prince said, I'm going to be the best ever. So you got two dudes vying for two different titles. That's why you would have more people, you have more people warm and fuzzy towards Mike, and you got the Prince is more edgy because I'm going to make the music. Prince, it's kind of like the same thing we got 40 years later, again, with Jay-Z and Nas. You got Jay-Z saying, I'm going to destroy these charts. And Nas said, I'm going to make the music I want to hear. So all four of these people are equally talented at what they do. You got one is saying, hey, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to do what I got to do to be on top. And the other two, Prince and Nas, going, I'm going to still be on top. And I'm not gonna miss a beat, but I'm gonna do it my way. So I don't think it's more of a rivalry just because I don't care what you do. If we jump and rope, I want to jump rope longer than you. If we're not doing, we want to have the greatest takes possible on this program, but we're not competing, but we still want to show the world that we're paying attention. I'm paying attention. I got an in-depth view of this. So I just believe it was two different things because even though it has a pop sound, they don't really care about us. It's just as deep as anything anybody ever wrote.
That's true. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Well, what do y'all think of this question, Ray?
I just want to say real quick, that's why I appreciate those songs like Come Back Nikki and Pussy Control. It was really, really good songs. Really good songs.
Now, I don't know if the Beatles and the Rolling Stones were.
Well, the Rolling Stones and the Beatles are, in essence, the beginning of boy bands. They don't even, I don't compare them to anybody because the Rolling Stones is a Muddy Water song. They took their title from their group, and that's Muddy Waters. That's why they named themselves the Rolling Stones. They heard the Muddy Water song. And the Beatles, they stole from the Chubby Checkers, the Fast Dominoes, the Marvin Gayes, the Motown sounds. So. They made good music. They're boy band.
I think what Jungle Brother is trying to say though is that they tried pitting MJ and Mike and Prince against each other, but they never tried pitting those white bands against each other. And I think that's
the purists don't respect the Stones at all. Rock purists, they don't respect Mick. They don't respect the Stones. They do it, but it's not on the same scale as they do Mike and Prince.
And that's the same way they try to pit us against each other. It's the same.
But just
thing.
like with the Rolling Stones,
again,
and maybe
LeBron,
maybe Doc and H-Rap and even Jungle Brother can answer this. But why is it that like people like Led Zeppelin or people like Pink Floyd or people like the Rolling Stone, they go from blues back to rock or back to folk? I mean, you heard that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. The power structure destroyed music with this night. This is one of the greatest nights in the history of music. But the power structure took this night and decided to separate us because Jungle Brother, and Doc are the same age. We a couple months apart.
Yeah.
We
leave that comment up there.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to love music. And I haven't known Jungle Brother long enough to reference this, but I can guarantee you, and me and Doc have talked about this on this program, I can guarantee you, Doc knows Tower Power, Doc knows Captain Antonil, Doc knows Benny and the Jets, Doc knows Casey and the Sunshine Band, Doc knows what's
David Bowie, somebody.
You know, what's the two dudes who split up and they was mad at each other, Simon and Garfunkel. They know, we know those. We did. Golden mentioned it. We didn't know how many people in this entire chat room or whoever gonna watch this knew Boss Scaggs was white.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
And they this is when they started that foolishness. This is when they started. Sinead, to me, that Doc mentioned the song a second ago. From Prince, I think Sinead O'Connor took that song harder than him.
Right.
Doc, remember Julian Lennon? Remember when Julian Lennon had that song and around the same time? We was digging music back then. We allowed these people to separate us and get us to arguing about foolishness instead of saying
right. Crossover wasn't a thing before this.
Right.
Yeah, there was no thing as a crossover.
Because white boys funking with black boys, but with black dudes.
The Doobie Brothers. Which is why they were on an episode of What's Happening.
I was just about to say that. Jungle Brother, me and Doc, we saw the Doobie Brothers and rerun trying to bootleg their concert. A black show. We were trying to get that fucking up, and they tricked us.
Yeah.
You know, that's why people like Jungle Brothers upset. Like, why ain't they doing it this way? Because they tricked us. This is the year Doc and Jungle Brother and if anybody else Golden, anybody else our age, y'all remember them as I Want My MTV. And that's when they said black people over there, white people over there. I was digging the Eurythmics. I was digging what's the name of that song? Money for Nothing, the checks for Cross. Was that Cross still in that? Money for Nothing, the checks for free. I was vibing with that. I was vibing with Twisted Sisters. We're not gonna take it. I was vibing with that. So they tricked us right here. This is the Chaka. Remember that too. This is when they said over there. They tricked us, man. They tricked us.
Yeah. Wilkes mentioned Pink Floyd earlier. That was the very first record I ever owned was a Pink Floyd.
They're named after two blues singers, two black.
We don't need no education. Brother say why you can't like both, and I'm assuming he's talking about Prince and Michael Jackson. I love both. I don't just like both. I love both. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying who the shit for me, who edges, and it's the slightest of margins, but I get an edge to Prince.
Yeah, now and Cole says I saw Michael Jackson in concert once and Prince 3 times. Prince is the best performer I've ever
SOB.
Wow, yeah, really.
And Prince 3 times. You lucky as you blessed SOB.
Right.
You touched.
Right.
Divinely.
You're talking about the Rod Temperton.
That's right.
Lady.
And that was a foreign guy. I think he had wrote for the Beatles and stuff like that, but he was on the Thriller album big. Quincy Jones, if you would have ever asked Quincy Jones about Rod Temperton, he'd go nuts about it. That's how bad that boy was.
Yeah.
Prince and MJ are apples and oranges, says Jungle. I can agree with that.
Apples and pears, maybe. I don't know.
One of my favorites is Lost Inside of You, One Way. Those are some lyrics.
Yeah.
It's because the Beatles gave the Rolling Stones their beginning by writing their first song that wasn't a cover.
As I said, nobody really respects the Stones like that. They got some dope songs, don't get me wrong, but when you talk about great musicians, ain't nobody going, man, in the Stones.
Ain't nobody performing like Mick at his age right now.
But he's okay. Not God.
Yeah.
Jagger's big.
What you just say? What you just say, A-Trap?
That cocaine is an amazing drug.
Who said that? Where is this live?
Rick James. Cocaine, hell of a drug.
Hell of a drug.
And he said that on the Chappelle show. Did he say it before that?
Chappelle.
You are 100% right. Tina Marie is one. Name another white lady who's as accepted in the black community as Tina Marie. Name one.
Nope. Adele, that new lady, the fat lady.
Not like Tina Marie, the fat lady. She ain't.
She lost a lot of weight, man.
She did that big Gregory. She ain't that big no more.
Oh, okay.
That big girl.
Lisa Stanfield too. Yeah, Lisa Stanfield.
Well, I'm telling you,
we was vibing to this good music, man. They tricked us, man. Like my favorite artist.
Scrappy. Let me play Scrappy, and you jokers, y'all gonna be sheet dancing so hard. Y'all can't stand out Scrappy.
I was watching this. I'm sitting there going, Huey Lewis and my man Heat of the Night was my two favorite artists in this. Phil Collins.
Oh yeah,
I like them more than anybody else. Of course, you love Stevie.
Yeah, Phil Collins, my boy. Yeah.
Rerun and What's Happening put the Doobie Brothers on the map in the black community. Michael McDonald, one of the greats.
Yeah. See, we wasn't doing this black-white thing back then. They tricked us.
Yeah.
Reddick says, I never saw MJ. I did see Prince one time, and I'll still say it was the greatest concert I've ever been to. And you got two people. Rod Temperton wrote for and was a member of Heatwave.
That's right.
Always and Forever. Wow.
Always.
That's one of the biggest songs.
Hey. Here go a fun fact for y'all. That first album that Madonna had that was super hot. That's the Gamble and Huff album.
Really?
Yeah, Gamble and Huff did all that.
Wow. Hey man, Gamble and Huff range, man.
We just transferred to the barbershop. Gamble and Huff did all that. And every time
A-Trap always coming with it, man. A-Trap always
that
coming
knowledge,
with it.
baby.
Yeah. All right. So they all get there. And like somebody said, it was like a bunch of kids the first day of school. They were all kind of standing to themselves. They were all kind of getting the sense for, who's here, what it's going to be like.
First day at a new school where nobody didn't have no territory mapped out yet.
Right. And they got right into it, the chorus, and obviously Quincy Jones being so respected, he was able to, like, hey, we need to start. Like, y'all want to go home. So they had a lot of that lighting. It was a full production because they did the song and the video all at the same night.
I didn't understand. What was the part with Cyndi Lauper? Like
her chains they were picking them up in the track, in the recording, but they didn't know what it was at first. They were like, "Why does it sound like somebody's laughing every time she sings?" They didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Until she leaned in to answer, and they're like, you got on bracelets, one of the checks, and she goes, oh my, and she goes, I didn't even think about that, and that's when
they came back as like somebody laughing.
That's right. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And so, and yes, it was Madonna, but not like a Virgin Wilkes. That was Noel Rodgers. Yeah.
Oh, Lucky Star and Borderline, two of the greatest songs. Yeah.
That daggone jewelry, yeah, man. And that voice, man. Like, stop talking, please.
I didn't mind that voice. I didn't mind the voice. I like True Colors is one of my favorites. Cyndi Lauper.
Time after time.
Time after time.
That is a good one. I hear that. The writers did one thing that I didn't like regarding Prince. Anyone take a guess? I don't know. They said he was going to be there. They lied on him because they said he was going to be there. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
But Sheila E. claimed like they kept her late because he was supposed to. They hoping that he'd show up or something like that.
But she already knew. She already knew he wasn't coming.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they were still there at 3 a.m. And at that point, or rather a little bit before that, that's when Stevie said, we need to ask for Swahili. I felt like they was about to throw some. I feel like they was about to throw something at him.
Like, man, you don't shut up, man.
It was like you don't know who all in here. You don't know who.
Like we got lyrics that ain't even been translated yet, man. What you talking about?
Swahili, man, you don't sit your ass there.
And hey, this one was funny. They came back and said they don't even speak Swahili in Ethiopia. It wouldn't go no way.
I think that was Al Jarreau said that.
That was funny, man.
But I mean, and you know, food is the central point. And guess where they ordered from? Chicken and waffles from Roscoe's. Man. Everybody was eating it too. It wasn't no like I don't eat chicken, I don't eat waffles or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It was all.
Niggas there, you know, it's gonna be some chicken, man.
Yeah.
Be some damn chicken going on. Some waffles.
Yeah. So you know, Sheila E. At that point, you know, she everybody started to leave after not everybody, but certain people left that wasn't getting the solo. Now they didn't say how they determined who was going to get the solo. Was that talked about at all?
Pick that up, but you know,
but it looks like from what you can see, just the biggest stars. I mean, some of y'all just here for backup, man. Some of y'all pips.
Yeah,
y'all not Gladys Knight, man.
Right. And there was this comment from Cole.
If you think
now,
about
I would have liked to see Rachel, but Ray Charles did have a spot, didn't he?
He had an ad lib. He had some ad lib solos parts in there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the biggest people of that time and of all time had solos. Mike, Lionel, Cyndi, Ray, Huey. They were the biggest stars of the day.
Yeah.
Rick, what we letting what's the name talk for? Man, get up out of here, man. You lucky we let you in.
Yeah, be quiet.
Right.
All right. So this was a comment Cole had earlier. As for Sheila E., we heard you on Glamorous Life, Love Bizarre, Lady Cab Driver. What made you think you getting a solo? But that was cold in them.
Hey, do me a favor, beat the drums and shut up, man.
Wow.
Just be cute.
Glamorous Life was bad too. You play that, I bet y'all jokers ain't gonna sit still in your seats.
No, but shut up.
At least your right cheek gonna be moving.
At least.
So when it came to the solos, Paul Simon, Huey Lewis, MJ, Diana Ross, Stevie, Tina Turner, Billy Joel, Lionel Richie, Dione Warwick, Al Jarreau, Willie Nelson, Cyndi Lauper, Kim Carnes. I had to look her up, and then Bob Dylan.
Yeah, Kim Carnes. If I'm not mistaken,
one song.
Heart, was she in Heart?
I don't know. Was that her playing the guitar? I don't think so. She had that one song, Kim. Oh God, I can't think of that name now.
Betty Davis Eyes.
Yes, Betty Davis Eyes. That was her big song. Yep.
And she had one of those.
For some reason, I've been getting her in Heart, you know, because they are a lot alike in terms of their look and all that other stuff.
And that sound, yeah. Betty Davis Eyes was one of her big ones.
Rhiannon by Heart.
Yeah.
Got me. Huh?
Yeah. Heart is huge. Heart is big. Yeah. Heart's got some hits, especially in the 80s. Definitely in the 80s. 70s as well, but
don't fall in love with the Dreamer with Kim Carnes.
Okay. Did you get that?
I'm gonna take these songs in the chat and
check them out. Hey,
you get Cole's comment about the solos being determined. by the man who penned Michael Jackson's song "She's Out of My Life," which is another great song. Tom Baylor, yeah, he mentioned Tom a couple of times, pronounced Baylor, yeah.
Based on their range is how they picked.
That's right.
Because they kind of gotten to a point where like, why are you getting that part and why are you getting that part? So there was a little bit of that.
Which brings you to the check your egos at the door sign that Quincy Jones put up there. If for when they coming in, they can see it.
Right. Now I was wondering at what point did they stop, because it was like 3, 4. They kept showing the clock 5, 6. It ended up being 8 o'clock, and that was when Lionel and Quincy Jones and some other people left. But I'm assuming it had to have been like 6 or 7.
Diana Ross started crying because she didn't want to
eat. Shit, I did too. Yeah, I didn't want to eat.
But one of the guys was like, man, that was one of the sweetest things I ever seen. And so yeah, it was I think it was a big night. Obviously, like I said, I was 3, but I agree with you though, A-Trap. I mean, I'm sure this is kind of how the separation started, but there was more collabs involved with it too. Heart is the sister pairing Ann and Nancy Wilson.
They bad too.
Pence wrote and donated a song for the We Are the World album.
Pence did?
Prince. I said
Prince. You said Pence. Vice
Pence. and they didn't mention it. Okay, so that's why Shaka was upset.
Said they did in Heart, yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that.
Because they didn't mention that. I don't even know that they mentioned. They might have. I didn't catch that they mentioned the We Are the World album. I know they mentioned We Are the World single, which at the time it was released was the highest selling single of its time. But I didn't hear about the album itself. So I guess they did do an album with songs, but I didn't hear them mention that in this documentary though.
Yeah.
Whatever songs that were on that album, technically they did all of them wrong because they didn't tell us about none of that.
Yeah, they didn't say anything right.
Yeah. What's up, Knox? Appreciate you tuning in. I seen you on with D Great. I think that was last night. I love seeing y'all on StreamYard and y'all doing your thing. I still haven't received my producing credit for We Are the World album. What you doing there? He was doing security.
Probably about the chicken and waffles.
He stole it. I was with him.
Man. All right. So let's get to some final thoughts. And,
one thing before we do, let's just mention the fact that the stations all played this at once. Once it was done, that was the thing that they did. They all played it at one time. And they talked about how powerful that was, based on how music was and things of that nature, and how this gave way for new socialism as far as artists were concerned. Because after this, well, I don't know if they call this Band-Aid or not, or launched Band-Aid, but then you also had Farm Aid, so musicians started for a little while, getting involved in trying to raise funds through their celebrity and whatnot. And then they did Hands Across America. And for a while, all the black people use that as a joke for fat people. They say, let's put hands across Shalonda, stuff like that. I can't tell you how many times I done issued that. Y'all, come on, let's do Hands Across Sharon.
Yeah. She big.
There you go back at the door. You're going by yourself, bro.
What you think of this comment right here, Adrian?
hey, boy. Hey, man. Hey, man. Him. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all one day about Big Illinois, Christian, Anthony Lansdowne, Christian Pollard, Vincent Williams, and Chris Pollard. They owe me $1 million each.
There you go with the government names.
Hey, man. Hey, Jungle, I need somebody on the docket, man.
So Live Aid, Band-Aid, and Farm Aid.
Kool-Aid.
And Kool-Aid.
You're right,
Gatorade. Right Aid.
Hey, now side note, I'll say that song that Freddie Mercury performed If y'all seen Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie,
you gotta see it, man.
the split image, they did a hell of a job. I don't know how they did that, but the split image is almost the same. And to actually watch that song, knowing everything he had going on, that was one of the best, I think, performances.
Freddie Mercury is regarded by some rock and rollers as the best rock and roll lead singer of all time. Including Steve Perry, it don't matter who you say, they say Freddie Mercury with his crazy looking teeth.
Right. It helped him sing.
Yeah.
That helped him hit some of them.
Yes. All right, let's go final thoughts and ratings, baby.
All right. He said I'm putting Ben on the docket as we speak. What I do? Well, I'm on the docket.
You're finna get sued.
All right, we gonna go to let's go to A-Trap first. Final thoughts and Mike rating.
It was bittersweet for me. It was, as I've said several times, it was it was a great song for the time. It was a great movement, but it was bittersweet. I would give it 4 stars. I give it 4 stars because you learn a little bit, took you back a little bit. It just kind of it was just a couple negative things with me. Like I said, it separated people with music, and it put this perpetual negative image of the continent. It made the world believe that everybody on the continent was standing around with flies going around their head with big stomachs. This guy. I'm just saying, man. But
that is what they showed, man. They showed the absolute worst photos.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the documentary. Shout out, I had the utmost. I was already a Lionel Richie fan, and with the thing what he did with allow Sheila E. This guy.
I was in tears. Let me just say this, A-Trap. How confused I was as a kid. If they hungry, why their stomach so big?
Right. Are you hungry with a big stomach? Yeah, I remember that.
Confusing, okay?
So, it was bittersweet. It was a wonderful situation, but, it propagandized the continent and it separated people in this country. It brought people together as a unit. But then that's when all the music, like Rated Kev, he mentioned it might have just been his upbringing. And that's dope. I'm glad it helped him. But a lot of us, it separated us and made us go into
your boy throwing you off, man.
Yeah, man. We need a document for self-destruction. But but I enjoyed it, man. 4 stars, but it was bittersweet for me.
Mike.
I'm just gonna give y'all some context on A-Traps. When we laugh at what Big Illinois say, we laugh because it's funny. A-Trap laughs harder because he has more context with Big Illinois.
You got the backstory.
He's thinking about 40 years of shit when he hears this comment. We're just thinking of 5 minutes worth of stuff.
Right. Oh man.
All right, we Wilkes.
Man, let's see. Jeez. I don't know what to rate this one because it was one of those things where, like I said, for me watching it, maybe, and I know A-Trap and Doc, they've got a little bit more invested knowledge on it than me because as a kid growing up in the 80s, my brain isn't thinking political agenda.
Yeah, it's just thinking, wow, look at all those people.
I'm 43, so I'm looking at it like, dang, it's some big names here. But I guess because of the nostalgia from that, I'd have to put it at a 4. I guess 4 mics. I have to put it at 4 mics. I didn't realize it was in one night. I want to say, didn't they have it wasn't really a documentary, but didn't they have a behind the scenes of this before though? Like them coming together, I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. It's not as deep as this, but then the quote that Lionel Richie had said, where I think his dad, or he said his granddad or somebody said, why do you like coming here? Because he said it's home. He said this is why I come to this room. He was like, Cyndi Lauper stood over here, and Bob Dylan was over there, and it's just one of those things where when you go back home, and once again, I relate it to the chef's table, because every different chef or baker in that show was like, I had to go back home. I had to go back to reground myself. I had to go back to get those things that fed me. So it was done very well. It's just always good to see these big projects, because like I said, A-Trap has more vested than me. Doc has more vested in than I do, because as a kid growing up, I'm just thinking, man, look at all these superheroes. Look at all these well-known people that are huge in the pop world, music world, So I enjoyed it. It just took me back, just seeing and remembering how big that song was. And I think they had like matching sweaters in the video, I thought, when they finally released the video.
Kenny Rogers, I think, had a shirt on.
Yeah,
they had him there, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, they say, I heard somebody say he was looking to get, who do I give my invoice to? And they were like, you ain't no invoice, you ain't getting paid for this. And well, I got a free t-shirt. So yeah, I think they gave him some t-shirts and sweaters.
He held it for 30 years and sold it on eBay for $50.
Yeah, kept it in the closet. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Will, for the record, I wasn't politically invested when it came on. All the political stuff came about as I was watching.
Yeah.
Don't give me that much credit.
So I'll go next, and then we gotta kick it to Doc to kind of close it out for tonight. But I think his dad was saying, you're not always going to be in this room, or something to that effect. Everybody's not always going to be here, or something.
Yeah, you're not always come back home.
Right. They talked about Michael, and a lot of those people, not a lot, but some of those people obviously aren't here. So it was emotional for.
It was a pretty good list,
Lionel Richie. Yeah. But I felt like this was well done. And this was kind of a parallel to Rustin, because he was the one that was behind the march, and I didn't know who was behind this. I just thought they all got together and wanted to do a song, and so it was good to see the people behind it.
Yeah.
So initially I had it at a 5. As we're talking, I kind of changed a little bit. I'm gonna take it to a 4.5. But I felt like the backstory and the interviews. I felt like it was well done. Very well done. All right, Doc.
As per usual, I'll give IMDb, they rated it at an 8 out of 10, which is equivalent to our 4 mics, right? Rotten Tomatoes 98%, which is an equivalent of our 5 mics, and Google users 98%, which is an equivalent to our 5 mics. And that's where I am. I'm at 5 mics myself, because a documentary like this, it's not about how well they did it, right? Because they weren't doing it to be this documentary masterpiece. That's not what their thought process was, right? And putting this together, it's really just a release of footage at the end of the day, and that's why I give it 5 stars, is because not only what it gives you from a nostalgia feeling, but what it gives you from a new perspective feeling, right? New learned information feeling and whatnot. So that's why I had it at a 5. And unlike Ben, I'm gonna be sticking with my 5 in a very strong way.
And you and A-Trap with your stars. It's Mike's, nigga.
Mike, 5 mics. My bad. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Shotty.
Yeah, for me, I got an excuse, because it's been about a month since I've been on the show. So
it's been a little minute.
Now, one of the things I want to say in my final thoughts too is that Lionel Richie, I still think to this day, is underrated. I don't know that he gets the type of credit that he deserves. Quincy Jones is a bad man, which we all know. But this really, and then think about this for a second. Think about the emotions that are elicited when a choir sings for us, right? A choir. But you're talking about a choir of superstars. Is basically what this was, So I think that's the difference with this. But as I got toward the end of this, it really got me emotional, and not only in the coming together for a greater cause situation, And then I kind of tied it to where we are here in the country right now, in our society, in our community, and where we're kind of broken, you know. So it kind of got me emotional, and I want to do a little something different here. I want to end this, something we've never done on the forecast before, is I want to end it in prayer today, right? For where we are right now. One of the things you don't know about the forecast is we are a balanced bunch of dudes. We're on here and we talk crazy, me and Wilkes especially. You know, we say silly stuff, and you might not even think we know the Lord. But I promise you, we are balanced dudes, you know, and a lot of this is just for comic, you know, content and whatnot. But we are a show of believers. Make no mistake about it. And we convene over the word on a daily basis. And I mean a daily basis, 7 days a week. We are passing scripture and we're commenting on, you know, so we connect on a daily basis with scripture. So it is very important that our viewers understand who we are, you know. And so again, we're going to do something we've never done, which is end this one in prayer. So if you don't mind, gentlemen, bow your heads and close your eyes real tight.
Real tight.
Lord, we love you. We give all glory, honor, and praise unto you. Master, you're an amazing and awesome God. There is none other like you. You are the one true God. We adore you. Lord, we have all sinned. We've come short of the glory. We've sinned in our thoughts. We've sinned in our actions. We confess this by mouth before you according to your word, Lord. You said if we would just simply confess of our sins, you would be faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and cleanse us of all unrighteousness. And it is righteous that we stand before you, Lord, and we thank you. We thank you for your correction. We thank you for your direction. We thank you for your protection, Lord. We thank you for your grace, for it is sufficient. We thank you for your mercy, for it endureth. We thank you for peace that surpasses all understanding, and we thank you for love unconditional. Lord, we ask that you keep your arms of protection around us individually and collectively. Lord, we are a broken nation. We are a broken people, Lord, and we ask that you heal. For is anything too hard for you, Lord? It is not, Lord. So we just ask that simply, Lord, that you heal our land. Simple as that. Heal our land, starting with us individually, starting with our community, starting with our people, and starting with our country, but heal our land, Lord. We are broken and we need you. We ask this in agreement, and we ask this and many other things in your beautiful son, Jesus' name. All that agree, say amen.
Amen.